Welcome to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia Cordero, and this is where we get real about life with celiac disease. Each week, I'll share practical gluten-free tips, wellness hacks, and honest conversations about the emotional side of living with an autoimmune condition. Think of this as your weekly mix of support, relatability, and inspiration to help you not just survive, but thrive with celiac. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder, I'm not a medical professional. Everything I share is based on my own experience living with celiac disease. This podcast is not medical advice, so please always consult your doctor about your own health. Hi guys, welcome back to the Celiac Diaries podcast. I'm your host, Lucia Cordero, and we have a special guest in studio today with us.
Hi.
All the way from Michigan. You flew in from Michigan?
I came here just for this.
Oh my gosh. No Gluten Gabby is in the studio.
I'm so excited.
I know you as No Gluten Gabby. I've been following you on TikTok, I think just for years. And yeah, whenever I created this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool to have No Gluten Gabby on. Because I've just been following your content for so long. And now we're here. We made it happen.
Every time I see a blonde celiac, I'm like, it's just a bunch of us just going at it. So I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, there's so many of us. But yeah, we're going to get into your whole story and everything. But just so our listeners know a bit more about you, because I feel like I know a lot about what you say about celiac, but do you want to intro yourself, where you're from and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Gabby. I have been diagnosed for about 5 years now. I got diagnosed literally 2 weeks after the pandemic hit, so that was really fun. And
wait, there's so many 2020
diagnoses?
Yeah.
I honestly, because I generally think this is it's also research, but conspiracy theory is so much stress activates that celiac gene. So that's why I think so many people got diagnosed around 2020 to just so forth because of the stress that got put on our body and everything, that I'm just not surprised. I'm just not surprised at all. But that was one of my stories. And I definitely looking back, I was I definitely had celiac almost my whole life. Looking back at baby pictures, I was I had a whole belly and everything, but we disregard that for now. But no, I got diagnosed 5 years ago and I started my platform 4 years ago. It was about a year after my diagnosis. And I was just kind of in that space of feeling lost of I don't know where else to look. I've only found a couple books about gluten-free and just the bare minimum, and the dietitian that I was recommended or whatever they call it through your insurance was the bare minimum of just giving me a handout sheet that I could easily Google of what's gluten. Mm-hmm. And so once I got frustrated with all of that, because I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues and I feel that wasn't talked about enough at the time. And my sister has celiac too, so she had very different symptoms from what I did. And so again, I was feeling so lost of how do we have the same disease, but we're not even experiencing the same symptoms? So let me just start posting. So then I just started posting about my journey. That's really what started it all, is I just wanted to post about, okay, this is my first year with celiac disease, and I'm going to continue it probably for the rest of my life because I want to see what I look like at year 35 with celiac disease. It's fun to look back at my platform. That's kind of why I started it, and just to also find my community and find people who are also struggling. And so I first started on TikTok just posting stupid videos because it was 2021 when it was still kind of a dancing app. So I was trying to, how do I talk about a lifelong disease on TikTok when everybody's just dancing and having fun? And so I just started doing fun trending sounds. And then I remember my first post that kind of went viral was random things I didn't know were gluten-free. And it was licorice, Play-Doh, and the comments were crazy. They're I didn't know either. And I'm okay. One, I feel less crazy. And two, I'm going to continue to do this. So I just started replying to a lot of those questions of yeah, I didn't know this either. Just sharing my journey. And now 4 years later, this is my full-time job and advocating for celiac disease, working with the Celiac Foundation, working with Celiac Crews, just doing everything pretty much in the whole gluten-free community and advocating, of course, for the community as well.
That's so amazing.
It's fun.
And that's so... what is it like having, something unexpected happen to you? You get diagnosed with this chronic disease, and then now it's your entire career. What is that? Do you ever just take a step back and you're whoa, this is kind of crazy?
100%. whenever I feel like down on myself, I like take a step back. Well, this takes a while, but like when I'm feeling down on myself, I'm like, wait, I literally turned my entire disease into a business. Like that's kind of cool when you think about it. Like
you're really taking lemons and making lemonade. Like that's
at the
amazing.
selfish end of it, this is really cool. Like I have gluten-free bread just sent to me, and I can eat gluten-free bread whenever I want. And like that, I do realize the privilege that I have with the platform that I have and everything. But it also obviously takes like the vulnerability that you have to put out there in order to get to the space that I was in. Because that was like one thing. I mean, there's so many posts that I've posted where I'm like, this is so embarrassing. Like if my ex-boyfriend from high school saw this, he probably thinks like I'm such a loser. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm also reaching 5,000 people minimum of like who also are experiencing the same thing. Because it's what, I don't know what it is, like 6% of people who have celiac disease in the United States now. I don't know what the...
Yeah, it's a lot more than you would expect.
Yes, yeah, like 1 in 100. So I'm like, it's so more common than people think. So when I started posting, I was like, that was my underlying, like, okay, more people are on my side than I think. And like more people experience this. I just haven't found them yet. And that's what I knew with my social media. It's like, I know I'm not the only one experiencing this. As much as I love main character syndrome, I know that like I'm not the only one experiencing mental health issues with celiac disease, not the only one experiencing like these random symptoms with celiac disease outside of just like a stomach ache. So
no, totally. Well, like when I started this podcast, I remember sharing this idea with friends that I have because I've been posting content for a while, but it's more like lifestyle, not necessarily just like gluten-free or celiac focused. And so many different people were like, well, that's a little niche. Like, do you think people are going to want to listen to a podcast about celiac disease? And I was like, well, there's so many people that have it and there's so many things to talk about with celiac disease. Like I literally, whenever I was creating this podcast, I came up with like 200 different episode ideas because I'm like, there's just so many different
100%
like facets to celiac. And like you were saying earlier with your sister, like no one person experience with celiac disease is like another's and everyone experiences it differently. And there's so much to learn about it to like just help us all feel healthier and be happier with celiac.
100%.
So
it's like a multi-generational, everybody experience, who has it, but you could be 80 years old experiencing it. You could be a newborn experiencing it. You can be in college experiencing it. Like it doesn't matter. You could be a male, female. It doesn't matter who you are. You can experience this. And I think that's what's so interesting. Whenever I go to gluten-free events and things like that, just like seeing all these different types of people. And I'm like, we all have the same disease and we all are struggling with the same diet and the frustrations of this diet, but also just like the fun experiences of finding new things. So it's very interesting to see just how it's really not anything other than this is like a disease of the people and like it's a day-to-day life. And this is outside of celiac too, but just like allergies in general, but just like dietary restrictions. It's like a different community than it is. And like I love being a part of it because like we just get each other.
Totally. It's like an instant bond when you meet someone that has celiac or even just any allergy.
I feel like every conversation always starts with like, this might be TMI. And then someone goes, no, it's never TMI.
No, literally. You got to talk about it all.
100%.
I want to get into our weekly segments that we have.
Yes.
So first up, news of the week. I'm so excited about this one because I picked this story, especially because you're going to be here. But a new phase 2 clinical trial called the TEV-CED2 study is open. The investigational drug being tested is an antibody targeting interleukin-15 with the goal of reducing intestinal damage and symptoms when people with celiac disease ingest gluten, which is so exciting.
I know.
And the study is looking for adults aged 18 through 65 who have had a confirmed diagnosis of celiac disease for at least 12 months and have been following a gluten-free diet for at least 12 months as well. Participants will receive a single injection of the study drug or a placebo, and the research is being carried out at multiple sites across the U.S., including Atlanta, Colorado Springs, Miami Lakes, I assume Michigan as well.
2 places in Michigan, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so this is really exciting, and I picked this story because I know that you're actually participating in this.
Yes.
Okay, you have to tell us all about it.
Yes. So thankfully, I haven't started the gluten drug part of it, which is good just mostly because I'm a yapper and I know I'm not supposed to talk about it, so I don't blind the study.
Okay.
But basically, I've gone through the screening process, which is basically, so how you sign up for the study is first you go through the online screening process, which you can do right through the Celiac Disease Foundation's website. And it's like 4 questions just asking like, have you had celiac disease for more than 12 months? Have you been on the gluten-free diet for more than 12 months? very easy. And then once that passes, then you do a phone screening. It's like just constant steps. But then once you get in person, my in-person like screening, there's 2 steps to the screening as there is like 2 steps to getting tested for celiac disease. So the first one was getting my blood work done, making sure my blood work comes back positive, for celiac disease. And then also just making sure all my other vitals are good because they want to make sure that they're only testing people with just celiac disease because as this drug is just, they can't confirm that it's going to be for everybody else. If you are struggling with other things, other allergies, it's a very particular, they want to make sure we are just focusing on people who have celiac disease for more than 12 months that can take this drug and we can see if your villi are going to be protected if you come in contact with gluten. So I had to get like my heart rate checked, all of that. And once that was done, then I went to the endoscopy like you would for celiac testing. And so I just went under, got the tube down my throat.
Yeah.
And they said it was supposed to take 48 days, and I got my results back in a week. So I know. So it was really quick, which is great. I'm about to go on a celiac cruise, so I'm delaying my trial right now until I get back because I just want to make sure that I'm home because it's like bi-weekly you get tested. So you get the shot and then bi-weekly you go in and have gluten. Like I don't know the amount yet, so I don't want to put a specific amount. And you can either get the actual drug or the placebo, and that's how they're going to test is this actually working or not. So, and it's all voluntary. I need to say that too because they say every single time completely voluntary. Like when you're ready to leave, you leave. So if I were to get the placebo, ate gluten and got extremely sick because I'm a sensitive celiac. So I know when I probably will know immediately if I got the placebo or not. So when I get glutened and everything, if I get sick, I know I'm going to step away immediately because I just don't want to put my body through that. But the trial itself.
So you're going to be able to figure out if you had the placebo.
Yes.
You're thinking.
Oh,
okay.
Immediately. Yeah. I'm it'll be really interesting to see if I just randomly became asymptomatic, one of the two.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
That would be weird timing.
Yes. But it is about a year long. I know they put it in months, but a little over a year long, just with the biweekly testing that they do. But then they give you the celiac drug and just to see how it really just comes out. So yeah, we're just in the research side of it right now, which is really exciting. Yeah, I found out about it from the Celiac Disease Foundation. I do their teen talks, and so I was just in conversation with them, and they told me about this, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have nothing better to do. I was like, if I get sick, you know what, I can handle it. This is why this is my full-time job, is because I want to be able to put my body towards that, not only advocating, verbally, but advocating, being able to give my body to science in this aspect of okay, I have celiac disease. That's the only thing I have. I'm very lucky that after 22 years of being undiagnosed and untreated, my still only disease is celiac disease. So I would love to see if we can make that better because cross-contamination is the worst thing in the world. Right. And that's the one thing I would love, if we had something to at least protect us from that. I would just love to know if it doesn't say it on the label, I can eat it. I don't have to look for the manufacturer, the cross-contamination, all those additional things like this.
We're never going to not be gluten-free, but just to have something that would help with intestinal damage so we don't get as much of it if we have cross-contamination or something.
Deal with it like an intolerance over a disease. And that's, I know it's always going to be a disease, which is, the truth of the fact. But to know if I have a shared fryer, I'm not going to be dead for the next 4 days,
Exactly. That would just be life-changing, really, because there's so much less you have to stress about and plan for. Mm-hmm. But, wow, I just think you're so brave for doing this, though, because that sounds scary.
It's funny because so many people have told me, they're like, why are you doing this? You're so sensitive. Why are you doing this? And I just thought, again, I've been put in a position where this is my full-time job. The work that I do, clients that I have, they understand who I am. They understand what I'm doing. And my main client is Celiac Cruise. They have celiac. They understand. So if something were to go wrong, I know they are going to be supportive through it all. That was my biggest fear. When I was first getting diagnosed with celiac disease, I was working as a full-time employee somewhere and in person and everything. And I had to do the gluten trial for the endoscopy. And that was so brutal. And I remember I almost got fired from my job because I was sick for 2 weeks and I couldn't go, I couldn't go to work. I couldn't even stand up because the gluten trial completely ripped me to shreds. Yeah. And that was my biggest fear. But I was looking back at that moment when I was first diagnosed and going through all the pain that I did from all those symptoms and going, okay, if I deal with those again, I'm finally in a space of my career that I can take this step back. If I'm not feeling well, my clients, my work is going to completely understand. I am set up for the support that I need if anything were to go wrong. I'm acting like I'm about to just like pass out and never be alive again.
No, but you have to think about it.
Yes.
That's such a good perspective to have with it. And that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's interesting because I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, also, how cool is it? Like if in 10 years from now, this drug passes and this is
like
a thing.
You were
and I was a part of it.
What made it happen. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm like, this is like, it's like a cool part of history in a way. Like even if it doesn't move forward, it's still just something so cool to be a part of. Like that's like kind of my mindset is I like call myself the side quest queen because I just love like anything with celiac, gluten-free. I'm like, if you are offering me this opportunity, I'm going to take it because I'm like, where's it going to take me? You don't know. Like it's just interesting.
I love that.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go to our next segment, gluten-free fave of the week. So I can go first. My favorite product of the week is from a small business called the Celiac Code. Have you heard of them?
No.
They're based out of California, and she sent me her homemade granola from her small business. And I'm telling you, it's like the best gluten-free, celiac-safe granola that I've had. And it's hard to find like really good granola. But I wanted to give her a shout out on the podcast because she sent them to me and I'm obsessed. It tastes so good.
That sounds so good. I love granola.
What about you? What's your gluten-free fave?
Right now, it's, I hope I pronounce it right, Dishon Bakery. It's like Dishon. It's in New Hampshire.
Okay.
They sent me some of their bread and bagels. I'm not joking. Better than any bagel. Like, I don't want to they're very great bagels, especially in New York City. Like, Original Sunshine and Modern Bagel. Yeah. Amazing. This bagel, it kind of like takes it out of the park. Like it is so good. And their bread.
Is it like a flavor or is it just a regular bagel?
They just sent me a plain bagel. Wow. And then I think their artisan loaf and their plain bagel. Like growing up, I was obsessed with Panera. Like I loved a Panera bread or Panera plain bagel. Like those were so good. And that tastes exactly like it. Like I buttered it, toasted it, butter, cream cheese. And I felt like I was in heaven. Actually, earlier today, though, okay, now I have to, like, go back because Bubs, it's like an allergy-free bakery that just came out.
I've been seeing this all over TikTok. I need to go.
You have to get their plain bagel.
Okay.
You have to get their cinnamon roll. And you have to get their savory Danish. I'm telling you, you have to get almost everything.
Okay.
They don't have much there. Like, that's what I appreciate about bakeries like this is when they do a slim amount to start because it's like, no, you're grounding.
Right. Well, with celiac, I'm so used to not having many options. Mm-hmm. So if I go somewhere and there's, like, 30 options for me to choose from, I just get overwhelmed. Like I'm used to just having one gluten-free cookie option and I'm like, okay, great. I don't have to decide.
It's like already prepackaged and its own thing. Like, okay, that's what I can get.
Right.
When I see a bunch. And then sometimes it's like just extreme flavors where I'm like, I don't need an orange, fig, cranberry, walnut, lemon swirl scone. I was like, I just want like a cinnamon roll. Like I just want the most basic thing that I can never have. But no, you have to try Bubs like that.
Okay.
I just went with Allergies with Mia who has like 50 plus food allergies. And just to find a place that somebody with 50 plus food allergies and celiac disease can eat at, it's a game changer.
Wow, okay, I need to go there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about it a little bit, but you were diagnosed at 22.
Yes.
And we were talking before we were recording, but your sister was diagnosed 3 years before that. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, like, what kind of led to you really realizing that you needed to get tested for celiac disease?
Yeah. So we'll start with my karma. Or this is what led to my karma, is when my sister was first diagnosed with celiac disease. This was like 2018. And when she got first diagnosed, my thought was not to look into it, of course, because I'm just the little sister. But I was like, okay. I was like, I just know you have to be gluten-free. So I was like, okay. I ate gluten-free because I was like, maybe I need to do that. Just, the thought of like, I just want to be like my big sister. Like, she's so cool now. She's gluten-free. I should be gluten-free.
Yeah.
So I went gluten-free for maybe less than a week. I want to say a week just to like hold my stance, but it was less than a week and I was like, ew, this is so gross. I could never do this. So I just gave it up. But it was funny because 2018 was like the start of seeing a lot of like symptoms that I've never seen in my life before. Like growing up, now looking back, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that was definitely like undiagnosed celiac disease with the migraines, bloated belly, all these things. Like I remember growing up in high school being so insecure about my stomach because I was like, why do all these girls have such thin stomachs? And I'm 5 feet tall. Like I'm 110 pounds at that time. Like I was very tiny where I was just like, it doesn't make sense that I have this huge belly when all my friends don't. Like it was just like a high school insecurity thing.
Yeah.
So that was like one of my bigger symptoms. And that's like a reason why I was like, oh, I'll try gluten-free. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's so gross. Like, I don't care. I'll just wear a bigger t-shirt, whatever. And then 2018, like after I did that, it was like 6 months later, I started getting these huge rashes on my face. Like it looked like herpes. Like, I mean, it was the dermatitis herpetoformatitis. I never know how to pronounce that right.
Yeah.
But I was getting it so bad on my face, and like it was, I don't know what to do. I went to a doctor, and I babysat maybe like once every 3 months. And I told my doctor that. They go, oh yeah, it's definitely from children. So they're like, here's a cream. And I was like, okay. So I remember going to the doctor since 2018 with like random issues, but nothing stomach related. Like it was always migraines, it was rashes, it was joint pain, it was like the random things. Like it was beginning of 2019, or no, it was still 2018. And I went to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
They were like, no, it's just extreme indigestion. Here's some pills. I was like, okay, that seems like not accurate, but I'll just like listen to the doctor because I'm just taught to listen to the doctor. Mm-hmm. And so after that, just got the indigestion pills, and I was like, okay, and kind of life just went on. Still we're dealing with the rashes, all these random things. And I had all the stomach issues too on top of this. I just thought that was normal. So that's besides the fact.
Yeah.
And then
no, I get what you mean though, because I was diagnosed at 11, but like for the longest time after that, I was still like having cross-contamination and things. And then even before that, like I was never aware of like what the symptoms actually were because I was just always used to it. Like I just thought that it was normal for your stomach to hurt after you ate food.
Yes.
Because that's just what had happened to me my whole life.
We literally, like, my sister and I have talked about this. We're like, why as a young child were we like, oh, we have to wait like 30 minutes after the restaurant when we're done eating because we're going to have to go to the bathroom. Like that was like a part of routine. I'm like, that's not normal to like think, okay, every time I go out to eat, because I remember we used to go to this place called Maggiamo's. It was like the most delicious Italian restaurant ever. And I would always get the biggest spaghetti plate with meatballs. And I was like, we have to wait 30 minutes after so I can go to the bathroom before we go, or because like I knew it was like a 45-minute drive home. So I was like, I wasn't going to make it home. So I have to wait just like 30, like get another drink, get a dessert, do something because I'm going to be in that bathroom for like 30 more minutes. And I thought that was so normal. So
because if you're used to it, you just don't know the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when I saw my sister dealing with it without knowing she had celiac disease too. We're like, this is definitely normal. She's my only other sibling. So I was like, okay, this is all we saw from each other. We're like, oh, this is normal. She's dealing with it too. I'm dealing with it. Whatever.
And do either of your parents have celiac?
No.
Okay.
And my mom got tested last year, negative. Wow. I think it skipped her generation because my grandparents, just how I've like from studying celiac disease and how it looks untreated in long-term effects, like they just got diagnosed with dementia very quickly, how they were diagnosed with dementia. And then my aunt, who was my grandpa's sister, was diagnosed with stomach cancer or colon cancer. And within 2 months she passed. So it was very quick that thank you. And it was so quick that looking back after I got diagnosed, like everything started clicking where I was like, why did my aunt die so fast from a GI cancer? Why did my grandpa get dementia within like 1 year and just completely shot down? Like it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in the sense of, oh, they probably had undiagnosed celiac. 'Cause we have lupus in our family. We have other autoimmune diseases, but celiac was the first to come from my sister and I. So 2019 is when it was end of 2019, September 2019. I, of course, remember. Like, I feel like you remember your diagnosis story. Like this is like, where were you?
It's like your life before celiac, after celiac.
Exactly. It's like clear as day. I like have had so many personality changes because of it, but that's besides the fact. But it was fall of 2019, and I got super sick. Like I think it's COVID, but I couldn't say it at the time because it was before COVID. But it was like a sickness I've never had before. Cold, flu, stomach issues, crawling on the floor from body exhaustion. Like I couldn't even stand up without like quite literally fainting.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a week long. And it was weird because after that I felt healthy. Like healthy in the sense of like, okay, I don't have like a full-blown fever, cold, flu. Like I'm able to function. But it was January 2020 when I started experiencing like getting sick after everything. Like absolutely everything. Doesn't matter what it was, I would be sick. Like I could have a bowl of soup. I could have just chicken broth. I could have like water and coffee were the only things that were really like settling in my stomach, like liquids basically. And then it was the week after, it was like 1 week before the pandemic because I went to Guatemala in February 2020, like right before COVID hit. I was building homes, and I remember eating bread every day. Like I would bring a loaf of bread to the site every morning. Like, and I have videos of me like gnawing on it, thinking like, this is so good. And that trip, it was weird because I felt so fine. But as soon as I came home, I'm not joking, I literally set my alarm every day 30 minutes prior to work because I knew I had to throw up. Like it was just a morning sickness. Like I was like, I'm not I'm not the Virgin Mary, but like, why does it sound like I have like pregnancy symptoms right now? Like I took a pregnancy test probably like 8 times and I knew I wasn't even doing it. So I was like, why do I have all of these symptoms? It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And what really tipped it over the edge was I was having literally an apple. Like I was eating like fruit salad. Like I had bananas, apples, like fruit-based things. Like very like there's no way I could get sick from this because I was at that point of like nothing's settling in my stomach. Like bananas were the only things I could stomach. And so I figured it was the apple that got me sick. I don't know. But I ate this apple, food poisoning like symptoms. If you were to have food poisoning, like you ate a big meal out at a restaurant and had food poisoning. Yeah. It was almost 12 hours of just like feeling so sick. And finally, once I like came to, I was like, Sid, my sister, what do I do? Like, here's all my symptoms. And she's like, get tested for celiac and don't take no for an answer. Because she did take a while to get tested for celiac disease. It just because there was no like prominent symptom. Like a lot of her symptoms were getting very sick, like a weak immune system versus, I mean, she still had stomach, but like a lot of it was more so weak immune system, shingles, chicken pox.
Well, it's confusing because there's just so many different symptoms that could be pointing to celiac.
Over 300 symptoms. That's what's like so crazy about it. So thankfully she was like, that kind of sounds like similar to what I've been dealing, and I'm your sister and I have celiac, and it's like 1 in 10 for family. So she gave me the confidence I needed because when I went into the doctor's office, I was like, hey, I want to get tested for celiac disease. And they're like, well, what's your diet like? And I was like, well, I've been like lately I've been only eating bananas and cubes of cheese and doing this. And they're like, well, you think like stress from COVID? Because it's like 2 weeks. Like I don't also this is like sidetrack, but like I don't know how lucky I got because when my sister first texted me to get tested, there was like no appointments. And then randomly an appointment came up for 7:40 the next morning, like a.m. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take it. Good, I need to do it. So went to the doctors and they were like not fighting me. Like I don't want to come off like they were fighting me on it, but they were just like, well, what's this? What's this? Like trying to navigate, like it could be anything else but celiac. I was like, oh, well, my sister has it. They're like, well, is it your full sister? Like how? I was like, well, my half sister. I was like, it's my mom. But like on my mom's side, we have autoimmune disease. Like I felt like I was arguing to just get like the needle was already going into my blood. I just needed them to do an additional test for celiac disease. Like I was already getting tested for diabetes and all of these other things and just like my vitamins and everything just in general. And I was like, can you just add on the celiac test? Like that's all I need. And they're like, well, I was like, my sister has it and I know it's 1 in 10. And
that's like, crazy. It was such a discussion though, because these days you can just order like from LabCorp if you want to.
There's
get
so
a
many
celiac
like, sites now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I'm like, why did this take so long? But I literally said, okay, if you're not going to test me, can you make a note that you refuse to test me for celiac disease? And they're like, okay, we will test you for celiac disease.
Oh, that's a smart way to deal with that.
100%. I'm like, okay, then
no one wants to write that note.
Because I'm like, if I got diagnosed later in life, I'm like, could I come back and like get you for that? Not get you for, you know what I mean? It's one of those like, if you make note that you denied me of this because I'm like, as a patient, I'm asking you to do this one thing.
Right.
Which was so interesting because I learned too, when I read the book from Dr. Peter Green on celiac disease, he talked about just like how it was taught to be a rare disease for doctors in school. Like in the 80s, like celiac disease was a rare disease. So like so many of these doctors, older doctors think like, oh, that's one of the last things I want to test for when I genuinely think it should be one of the first. Like Italy, they test at what, like the age of 6 now? So it's very interesting to see like how different countries do it. And I'm hoping like within the next 5 to 10 years, America will start screening at a young age because it's so prominent here.
Yeah, totally. And if you catch it early, then it just will only help people. Yes. And it doesn't hurt. It's just, like you said, like if the needle's already going into
just add an extra tube.
Like it's just adding. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I know you talk a lot about on your TikTok about gluten grief and how when you first got diagnosed, it was difficult, as it is for so many people, to adjust to the gluten-free diet. Specifically, I love this one video that you posted. Well, it was sad to hear you say this, but you were dating someone at the time that said something like, bro, like it's been a week of being gluten-free. Like, how are you still sad about it?
R.I.P.
So like, what was it like adjusting to being gluten-free, and how did you deal with gluten grief, and do you still experience it at all now? And like, what has it been like?
Yeah, definitely still experience gluten grief. It's interesting because for my timeline, getting diagnosed right at the beginning of COVID, I thought that was like the biggest blessing in the world because I didn't really experience grief until like a year or two in, because the first year of getting diagnosed, I was like, oh my gosh, this is sweet. Like, this is my hobby for COVID. It's like, I'm going to learn to cook. Like, I already loved
like a fun
cooking.
Little project.
Exactly.
I have this new diet.
Yes, I'm like, okay, I get to like do this. And then I was like, oh wait, it's the rest of my life.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
So the first like year, also, I should say this too, like when I got diagnosed, it was just blood work. And then it took until January 2021 to get my endoscopy. So
Okay.
also from like April 2020 to January 2021, I did not know much about the gluten-free diet from a celiac disease, like the cross-contamination,
Right. Okay.
all of like like I was still going through McDonald's and going, oh, I'll just get like a burger with no bun and french fries, not knowing there was even wheat in the fries. Like
We've all been there. We've all been there.
We all have our moments. But that was like the first year I generally was more so excited. Like I was journaling. So I kind of felt, this is interesting too, because I was just finishing up college. Like I also got diagnosed during my finals of getting my bachelor's degree in marketing and everything. And my one thing before I even got diagnosed is like, I love writing and I love blogging and I love connecting with people. I just wish I found my passion, or I wish I found my purpose on where I should go with that. Because I have notes from before I was diagnosed of like, what can I talk about? What can I do for people? Because I just want to help people, but what can I do? And then I got diagnosed with celiac. I was like, this is my calling. Like I just knew immediately that this was my calling.
Wow.
And so kind of found a lot of passion within finding that pain. Like when I found out that I got diagnosed, in a way it was like, oh my gosh, this is what I was called for. Like this is great. So I'm going to like try for it. Yeah. So in a way, like the first year was honestly the most blissful part of getting diagnosed. And it wasn't until like things started opening up, my life started getting busy. I went through a breakup with in my relationship, and it was just like very hard because like dating, oh my gosh, I
wanted to talk about this with you.
Yeah. Dating with celiac disease is such an interesting, I've never had like extreme situations, but I've had like some situations where I'm like, they just generally don't get it. And like, I don't want to be rude, but they're not smart enough to understand this. Like, not that they're not smart enough, but they just don't have that empathy, that
or
whatever.
they don't take the time to really understand it. Because I think like there's a lot of like memes on the internet, like, oh, I don't want a girl that's like gluten-free or vegan because it's like a high maintenance thing.
Yeah.
So I think maybe some people view it as that.
Yes.
Versus like, oh, okay, no, this is like an autoimmune disease, and like really taking the time to listen to you about what it is.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things too, like, I don't know if you've had this experience, but with dating, it, like, I guess it makes sense because it is a big part of your life as someone with celiac to have it and like being gluten-free, but it always comes up like on the first date.
Yes.
Because you're usually at a restaurant eating or drinking. Like it's just, it comes up so naturally.
Yes.
So it's one of those things you just always have to talk about.
Yes.
Do you have like a spiel that you kind of...
What's also like, I feel like this is the weird part about also putting my entire life on my entire disease on social media is because most of the time, so after I went through, when I went through my single dating phase, I like went through Hinge or whatever, but I never posted anything that I was like on social media. I think I like for 2 weeks, I had a funny joke that it was like, I turned my disease into a business. And then I was like, no, I can't even let people know. Like, I don't want people to know this. I got
like
responses.
as their first impression.
Yes.
Yeah.
The amount of responses I got, they're like, are you No Gluten Gabby? And I was like, oh my God. And then I've gone on a few dates, and it was more so like they want to talk about like, well, how'd you turn that into like a business? And it's like, it never really was like about that. And then the only questions it really got into was like, well, what really happens when you get like gluten? And I'm like, really, the first date? That's what you want to ask me?
We need to be talking about, yeah.
Like, are we going to get this graphic? Like, unless they've already had like a dietary issue. Like, I usually just started with like, have you ever like had food poisoning, but also have had the spins from like drinking way too much? Put those together, but don't be drunk. And like, that's what it feels like. Like, it just is like immediate. Like, that's the cleanest way I can say it on a date. Because I also am like, this is our first date. Like, I don't want to spend the time talking about like what happens in my intestines. Like, it's just like an awkward conversation.
Exactly.
But it's also like your life, which is funny because I'm like, when I talk to my friends who also have celiac disease or dietary restrictions, whatever, I'm like, we're just blabbling on and on and on about all the TMI stuff. But like dating, it's just like, especially first date. But I also understand because I'm like, if you want to date somebody with a celiac disease or any dietary restriction, like you probably want to know.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like give and take. But like I've had times where no one has ever said like, oh, it's not real. But like that question of like, okay, but really? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like like if I'm explaining like, oh yeah, even like the smallest amount, like this is one conversation I had where I was like, oh yeah, like the smallest amount will like mess me up. They're like, oh, how small? I'm like, oh, like I can't even have fries in like a shared fryer. They're like, there's no gluten in oil. I'm like, yeah, I know that. So, but when it's shared with things that do have it, it's like if you think of like boiling water, like if you threw flour in that, water's just like the flour's everywhere in that water, like how it all mixes. It's the same thing with oil. Like it can just easily attach to something else. It's like it's not 100% that like it's going to be totally fine or not totally fine. Like it's not like every shared fryer is immediately not good. Like you could just have that one fry that has that batter piece.
Yeah. But that's so interesting. I think like in some ways it's annoying to have to talk about something like that on a first date, but in other ways I kind of see it as like a blessing because I think it does help not like weed out people. That's like a bad way to phrase it. But like when you're talking about something real like that, like an autoimmune disease, like how someone reacts and like listens to you and asks questions is like very telling of their like character and how they would just like listen to you in a relationship and how they learn about something that maybe they don't know about instead of being like, oh, like, are you sure that you actually know what you're talking about with your autoimmune disease? You know, like you can really get a vibe of someone like based on how they react. So in some ways it is like it's annoying to have to bring up like an autoimmune disease on a date, but like
it's necessary.
I think it also it helps you like get to know someone and how they react to it.
And I will give a shout out because my now boyfriend, he's amazing. And I have to say like our first date, that's how I knew he was the one because we went on a date and I was visiting him. He lives over on the east side of Michigan. So I traveled over there and there was a new restaurant and they had gluten-free chicken fingers. They had gluten-free mozzarella sticks right by his house. I was like, we've got to go. So we go. And of course, I'm asking all the questions to make sure, oh, is it a shared fryer? All of these things. And it must have been a new waitress or something. But anyway, I'm asking all these questions. They're like, oh, I don't know. Like the conversation, I mean, you probably have had these conversations where you're just like, this server does not know what they're talking about. And I just didn't feel confident. And like, I could feel myself getting red, feel myself getting anxious because I'm like, this is not how I want a first date to go either. I'm like,
you don't want to be worried about
I don't want to seem
food.
like very like anal about what's going on, but I also like I want to be a cool girl, but I also want to like eat safely and not, you know, poop my pants. So after that happened, they walked away, and I was just like, obviously trying to be chill. And the way he said it, where he was like, hey, why don't you just ask for like a manager? Like, I don't know what it was, and like maybe it's just like an intuition thing, and I think that's a lot with dating just in general is like an intuition, but he's like, why don't you just ask? He's like, it doesn't sound like they knew exactly what, like he knew almost nothing about celiac disease probably other than just watching some stuff on my page, I'm sure, but to just like be as calm as he did, he's like, ask somebody else, like ask somebody higher, because like I usually don't do that. That's like something I need to be better about sometimes is like asking for the chef or asking for this. Because like usually I'll just take the no for the answer and be like, okay, just get me a salad. He's like, no, I feel like they didn't know enough. Like, why don't you just ask? And I was like, okay. And then I did. And he made me feel so confident in that moment of like, I'm not a burden for taking an extra step. Like we haven't even ordered yet. And I'm sure we're both hungry. Like I know I'm hungry, so I'm sure he's hungry too. Yeah. And just for him to be like, it's totally fine. Like just ask somebody else. Because like I want you to enjoy your meal as much as I want to enjoy my meal. And I think that's so important. Like that feeling, you just feel so like whole. So it gets there. But there's also times where I'm like, not with him, but just like other dating scenarios where I'm like, it took time. It took 3 years to get there, but it gets there.
Aw, that's sweet. I'm happy for you. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm curious because, so you live in Michigan now, right? And did you grow up in Michigan too?
Yes, born and raised.
Okay, and is that where you were in college when you got diagnosed?
Yes.
Okay, because you've talked about on TikTok how celiac in America is very regional. And I really feel this because I'm from Louisiana, so that's where I grew up and where I was diagnosed with celiac. And I live in New York now. Before this, I lived in Chicago. And my experience of having celiac in Chicago and New York is so different, like being in those big cities versus in Louisiana. And even when I go home for a weekend or something, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so much privilege to having celiac living in a big city because it is so easy in so many ways with all of the restaurants and options like Modern Bread and Bagel, Bubs. Like that doesn't exist in Shreveport, Louisiana, where I'm from.
Right.
But what has that been like for you living in Michigan? And then obviously you get to travel and do all these cool experiences and see what celiac is like in other cities. But yeah, what do you think about how it is like in Michigan versus other places?
Yeah. When I was first diagnosed in Grand Rapids, there was almost nothing. Like I think it was 2022 or 2023 when Papa Chops, which is a dedicated gluten-free fast food place now in Grand Rapids, when they finally opened up, and that was the game changer. Like that was, I remember seeing the news about it 2 years before they even opened up. Like it was one of the times I first got diagnosed and I saw this article. I was like, yes, it's like the stars are aligning for me to get diagnosed, but then there's mozzarella sticks down the road. But that was really the only place. There was a couple like dedicated bakeries, and don't get me wrong, like there's some good items, but you know, there's some dedicated places where I'm like, it's just dedicated. Like it's an option for us, but it's not good. So that was the one thing, because also growing up 22 years not having to be gluten-free, I know what good bread tastes like. I know what baked good tastes like. So I'm kind of a snob in that sense when I went into the gluten-free diet and started trying places outside where I was like, oh, I just like don't
That's
love
so
it.
interesting, because like since I was diagnosed at 11, like I did not have a sophisticated palate when I was 10. So I'm not like missing the taste of anything.
And
that
that's
I
why
had
I always
before.
go back and forth. I'm like, oh, do I wish I was diagnosed younger so I never had to know? But at the same time, like, I got to live 22 years of the gluttonous life. Like, it's good. Yeah. Like, it's a balance, give and take. But overall, like, Grand Rapids has grown a lot, which is really great. Like, I feel like there's at least the options. And one thing I think that made me become a lot more confident in restaurants is the fact that there wasn't as many options. Like, one person who has taught me so much confidence, her name is Kayla, or Celiac with Kayla, and she works a lot with restaurants. And we met a couple of years ago and we ate at a restaurant, and the way she asked questions, like, it wasn't a celiac safe restaurant in that sense. Like, they aren't known for gluten-free. They do have a dedicated fryer. They can make things safe. But the way she asked these questions, I was like, oh, like a lot more places can be quote unquote celiac safe if you ask the right questions. Like, after that time with her, I was like my last 2 years, I've been eating at so many more places that I didn't think were gluten-free, but could have the gluten-free options. And it could be as small as like, oh, I'm just having more like steak and potatoes versus like a full battered meal and doing all this stuff. Like baked goods, I'm still wishing that there was more. Like the Detroit side has amazing gluten-free stuff, but I'm still on the west side, like near Grand Rapids, so not as much. But it has made me become more confident to go into restaurants that might not have gluten-free labeling even, or like I'll call ahead and be like, hey, I know like there's no labeling, but I just want to see what your allergy protocol's here, whatever. And like, I want to say like 6 times out of 10, still not a lot, but like most of the times when I call those places that aren't typically like I wouldn't choose from the right beginning because it's not on Find Me Gluten-Free or it's not on these places, I have found like safe things to eat and I haven't been sick. Like there's this one cute little like country cafe dive bar at night thing up in like north of Grand Rapids. And I would have never gone there unless like I called ahead and they're like, oh, we actually have gluten-free bread. We just don't put it on our menu. So it's very interesting. Like it made me realize like how many smaller places actually do cater. We just don't go outside of that box to ask those questions. So not as many options, still like in a way, it's grown the confidence to be able to find more options for myself.
Yeah. Well, I love that perspective of knowing the questions to ask because, again, like living in New York City, it's like
you just do it.
So privileged with being celiac because like I don't even really feel the need to research a restaurant beforehand or call ahead because I just assume that like most of the places that I'm going to, the waiter typically knows about like cross-contamination and celiac because it's just so talked about here.
Yeah.
And so like a part of the restaurant culture. But if I'm like in a different city, I definitely like make a point to be like, okay, like I need to look more into this and to feel confident going there. But I love that perspective of like, okay, the waiter doesn't necessarily need to know about like allergies or gluten-free or celiac. But if you're able to ask the right questions, then you can have that conversation with them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because there's so many places that I've gone to that don't list that they have gluten-free pasta, gluten-free bread. And then I'll say it and they're like, oh, yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? You could make so much more money if you posted about that you did. So
yeah, I know.
It's very interesting. So that's like one thing. It's like
we need to marketing consult with them and get them to put it in their SEO.
I know. I'm like, that's one thing. I'm like, I wish like there was a way I could turn that into a business of being like, hey, like be better.
Gluten-free consulting.
Yeah, gluten-free consulting. Like I already have the LLC, so if it's a company.
Yeah. I want to get back to gluten grief because like I was saying, like that's just something that I don't experience because I just never really like fell in love with gluten to begin with. So how do you deal with it now? Like you said that you still experience gluten grief. Is it just like certain foods that you really miss, or is it more just like you miss just not having to worry about it at all?
Yeah, honestly, that's the biggest thing. It's not even the food itself. It's the experience because, again, like 22 years growing up, I was 21 going out to the bars and eating whatever. And like even if I wasn't drinking, I was like still grabbing like chicken fingers and fries, or it's the late night snack. Like you're coming home from college or coming home like during your college nights and you're just like getting insomnia cookies or doing whatever. Like those were just like such like great moments that I had, which I'm like grateful that I got to have those moments
of like being more spontaneous and just not having,
like the spontaneousness of it, because there's been so many times like I just had a birthday party 2 years ago and we went to Chicago And I was like, we ran an hour late to a party because I was like, there's no safe food for me there. And like, thankfully, my best friend was with me. She's like, let's go to Shake Shack. They have dedicated, like, whatever, or was it Shake Shack or Smash Burger? One of the two.
I don't think it's Shake Shack.
It's not Shake Shack. Smash Burger. I was like, wait a minute. I definitely just messed that up.
I've had bad experiences with Shake Shack fries.
You're like, no.
Unless
no,
it's
Smash
changed.
Burger. Yeah, because I was like, Smash Burger has a really good gluten-free. Yeah, because they smash their burgers. Yes, it's Smash Burgers. Correct me. Oh my gosh, fact check me. But I remember we went there and like I ate and like in the beginning, I felt so anxious because I was like, I am the person that's going to be an hour. Like, I hate being late. So I'm going to be an hour late because I didn't prepare and like I need to prepare. Because that's the other thing too, I think of. I'm so hard on myself, and I'm sure a lot of people with celiac disease are hard on themselves. But like, I think like I am wasting people's time by not preparing ahead. But I'm also like, I don't have the time to prepare ahead. Like, I already have my full-time job. I have my platform. I have just like my social life that I want to keep up with. And then on top of that, I have to plan for like, okay, here's this restaurant. Like, perfect example was a couple months ago, my boyfriend and I were going out to eat just downtown Grand Rapids, and I had 3 restaurants like in line, like, okay, we'll go here. And if that doesn't work, we'll go here. And if that doesn't work, we'll go here. All 3 places, fully booked. Reservations are booked out for like 2 hours. Like, it was going to take too long. And I'm like, all 3 options are done. I was like, that was already a lot of options in my head. And so now I'm like freaking out and I just start crying because I'm like, this is so embarrassing. Probably more embarrassing that I'm crying at this point because I'm crying about the fact that we can't find food. I was like, I'm sorry. I know we want to eat. I know we want to like have like a cute date because that's my thing. Is like I'm extroverted. I love going out, like having a glass of wine, splitting some food, like the atmosphere of that. And like that night, I was like, that's what I was looking for.
It is so fun being able to split things with people.
Yes. I'm like,
because most of the time I'm like, oh, I'm probably just gonna have to get my own thing.
You're just like looking over, like, that's what you got. Okay, cool. Here's my allergy-friendly meal. Yeah. But that was like a thing that like that really put me into like another form of grief or like another cycle of grief just a few months ago. It's because I was like, I just wanted a date night. I just wanted to like have some cute appetizers, some drinks. We dressed up. We looked really pretty. And then we ended up like me bawling in the car, him literally being like, I'll figure it out. He calls the pizza, like my dedicated pizza place. He's like, Papa Chops, gets a gluten-free pizza, everything. And just like fixed it for me, which was great. But at the same time, I'm like, I hate that you even have to do that. Like, it's that's the grief that goes back into it. It's like, if I was normal, quote unquote, if I could eat whatever, like we would have just been out. We could have just walked into a random restaurant, sat there, enjoyed a meal, like found something new to eat. And that was like my favorite thing to do before getting diagnosed was like, right before I got diagnosed, my sister and I went to Beijing, and she had celiac disease, and she got extremely sick, and I feel so bad for her. But that was like my last, besides Guatemala, but like my last trip where I really got to indulge in new food and everything. And that was like one of the last experiences. I still remember it so clearly because I was like, I felt so whole as a person. I was like, that was like a moment that I was like, I know, like, I want to just keep traveling the world and experiencing all this new food. Like, that was a moment. And then I got diagnosed, like, 2 years later. And it took me a couple years, but that's when in 2023, I had the biggest mental breakdown of my life. And I was like, I'm just going to go to countries that are good with gluten-free. And that's why I went to Italy for a month because I was
Italy is so good.
It is so
Even on the
good.
airplane, they give you, like, gluten-free cannolis.
Yes.
I'm like, hello.
You're treated like an absolute queen the second you step onto the plane. I'm like, wait a minute. I should live here. But that was, like, one thing that I started doing is, like, I just needed to start traveling to places that can actually cater to it. And I just kind of navigated it that way. But it's like not even food that I miss. It's genuinely just like the convenience of it. The like the love of being able to like bite something and be like, you try it too. And I just like, I grew up like my grandma was a huge cook. Like family dinners was a huge part of our lives, like sharing food. Food was literally like what brought us together. So to have that almost ripped away from me, because I remember like thankfully I got to have a couple Christmases left with my grandparents. And even those like celiac dinners, I just felt so like it wasn't the same. And like it felt weird. And then, you know, life passes. And I was just like, is this like the new normal? I just don't understand. Like it's still something that like to this day, like I have Thanksgiving coming up in a couple weeks and I'm just thinking like this is with my boyfriend's family and like I've done stuff with them before. Like we had Christmas last year and like I just remember having like a plate in the fridge like covered and everything. And to me, I still hate it. It's been 5 years and I'm still like, this is so embarrassing that I'm eating this little plate and people are like, oh, what's that? It looks like nothing like what everybody else is eating. And then you're just explaining your disease again. I'm like, it's Christmas. Can I not talk about this right now?
Yeah,
but totally. I get it. Like, it's just a part of the conversation. But I think that's what's so hard. It's like, I just want to be able to, like, live life and not have that be my everyday. because I think that's what's the hardest part. It's like it comes up in almost every conversation the second food is brought around, and food's brought in our life every single day. So it's
and
interesting.
It's your full-time job, and then you have to talk about it all the time outside of that too. Yeah.
That was always that was my hardest part. It's like when I first thought about doing this full-time, because I was a marketing director prior to this, like for a property management company. And it was a startup company. I got laid off, and I was like, maybe I'll do this full-time. And I just got lucky with like brand deals and work and stuff that it just supplemented my income right away.
Yeah.
But there was a solid like 6 months prior to that where I was like, I can't do this full-time. And I kept talking to myself like, you should not do this full-time because you already have to make this your full-time life. Like, this is your life, and now you're making it your full-time job. Like, where's your escape from celiac disease? Because, like, I need an escape from knowing that I struggle with this every day. Like, it's just something. So, like, I find my creative outlet in other ways with art and music and things like that. But, like, that's the one thing that it's so hard is, like, with it being your full-time job. But now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, there's different outlets, and I found different ways, like, with being able to tailor my creative outlet with like marketing and stuff. But overall, that is like one thing I struggle with so much because I'm like, you have to be so vulnerable about it.
Totally. I mean, it is a lot to talk about, like your health online, especially since celiac is like, it's not just your physical health, it's your mental health. It affects so many different things. I think like for me, it honestly just came with time, like getting used to it and being comfortable with it. I totally get what you mean about it's like, and that's something I still struggle with. I think I talked about this in a different episode about how like whenever you're like catching up with family, it's always over food. And sometimes it's like you see people once a year, but then because you're catching up over food, you end up spending like 30 minutes talking about celiac disease. And it's like, okay, I don't really need to talk about celiac disease for 30 minutes with like my family that I see once a year. Right. But I think like with time, for me, whenever I got to the point where I've like had celiac longer than I haven't had celiac, that's when I like reached this kind of turning point with it where I was like, oh, okay, I'm like, this is just my life. And I like, obviously I still have to think about it, but I'm not like, you know, because growing up, like I would have like sort of like the same situations where it's like, oh, I'm like crying over, you know, like having to be accommodated for, or, like this Mexican restaurant doesn't have safe chips, and like I really wanted to have chips and queso and just like things like that. But I think the turning point for me was when I realized that I had celiac longer than I haven't, which I guess happened for me pretty early because I got diagnosed when I was 11 and I'm 26. But I guess it's been somewhat recent, trying to do the math in my head, but
long enough.
For you, that'll be like in your 40s, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm sure
I'll be okay.
I'm sure you'll feel better. Like every year gets better.
Yes. And that's the thing too. It's like I think that's what's so interesting because I've had so many highs with having celiac disease because that is one thing I always say, like this is like my quote I always say, I hate celiac disease. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me because I hate it. But literally if I didn't know I had it, I would be so much worse off. Like knowing like I didn't get tested for it because I have it. Like that's the one thing, like at the end of the day, I have it. There's no way to change that fact. But it's the fact that I took those steps to take care of myself, to get tested, to figure out what was wrong. Like finally, I mean, my body was at a point of no turning back, so I had to, but still like knowing like I took those steps because I remember, I think that's why the grief didn't hit me until way later is because that first year too, I remember, I think it was like 9 months in and I woke up with this energy I have never had in my life. Like I felt light. Like I struggled in high school with depression and anxiety. Like I was on medication. I struggled bad. Like, and I didn't understand why because like nothing's happened to me. Like I just like struggled so bad with it. And randomly, I struggled with it all through college. Randomly, it was like a gradual feeling, but there was one day I felt like, is this what it's supposed to feel like to be like, okay? And that was like the moment I think I was genuinely like, okay, I see why. Like I was never really upset about my diagnosis. I mean, of course, like when I first got diagnosed, I was like, oh, this is going to change my life. I'm aware of that. Found the positivity in it of making new recipes, whatever. And then when I felt that energy, it gave me so much life for at least like another 6 to 9 months before I like started grieving again, like going back out and doing that stuff. But I was like, I feel happy. Like for the first time, like not even happy. It was like that peaceful feeling. Like I used to wake up like, I mean, I still struggle with it sometimes, but like heart beating out of my chest or just like I don't know if this is trigger warning, but like suicidal and like very like depressed in a way like, why do I feel like I shouldn't feel this way? And I knew I shouldn't feel that way. And that's what I thought was so interesting. It's like I had these thoughts, but then I had a thought above my head of being like, that's not who you are. And then once I finally got that clarity in my mind from finally removing all the gluten, I was like, oh my gosh, I am like a happy person. Like I am.
And when you're able to connect that to the gluten-free diet and celiac, it's like so empowering because you're like, oh, I actually know what can make me feel better now. And it's like exciting that you have like this tool. And thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like with me, like I had like really bad brain fog, and I feel like I had that for a while because I was still like not good about cross-contamination for years. But I knew like deep down, like this wasn't me. Like sometimes I would just like have trouble like forming sentences.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I still do, but I think we all do.
Yes.
Just from life.
Trust me.
And I knew that like this wasn't me, but like it's just like something was like clouding me.
Yes.
And then once I really got so much more strict about like cross-contamination and the gluten-free diet, like that completely went away. And I was like, oh, like this is really like who I am beneath the surface. But celiac has just been, messing up my neurotransmitters or, however it just works in your body, like the gut-brain connection. And it really does have those impacts.
Yeah.
So.
And there's one doctor at FACT Summit, which is like an allergy summit that goes on every October. And they were speaking on celiac disease. And his daughter, only symptom was, I think, migraines as well, but anxiety.
Wow.
No stomach issues, nothing. But neurologically, and the other siblings had celiac disease too. So that kind of led it to like, okay, let's get tested. Got tested, found out, went gluten-free, anxiety symptoms, relieved a lot, which is so interesting. Because that's one thing, actually, Matt Glass-Weinstein and I were just talking about. We're like, there needs to be more studies on the neurological effects with celiac disease, because I think that is way, like, as much as the gut's affecting it. I mean, the gut's the powerhouse of everything, but we have been so focused on like, oh, it's a stomach issue. Like, no, it's our entire body, let alone there's 300 symptoms. But like, there's so much neurological, like you said, brain fog. Migraines were my biggest symptom. Like, I remember once a week I'd have a migraine in high school, and I thought that was normal. Like, I would have to go take a nap, everything, blinds down, dark, everything.
Yeah.
And I thought that was normal. But I'm like, I had so many neurological issues. Not like I had a lot of stomach issues too, but like there was so much neurological that I'm like, why? And it's so taboo still. Like I feel like this society has opened up the mental health side of it, but also I'm like, it's still kind of taboo in the sense like, how do you connect this? Because I've even gone, like I got gluten in 2021. And this is on top of like pure exhaustion, like a lot of things to my body. But I lost feeling in my legs after I got gluten. Like completely passed out. I was able, like I was conscious but not conscious. Like I could still hear, but I couldn't move my body. And I thought that was so weird. Lost feeling in my legs for like 12 hours the next day. It was super weird. Went to the doctors a couple days later and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Got tested. Like I ended up getting, is it a CAT scan or MRI for MS, all of that. But when I first went there, I was like, I have celiac disease. Like this is exactly what happened. I ate this pizza. Within 45 minutes, I literally passed out. Like, I've never had this happen. And the doctor's typing and just stops typing and goes, that has nothing to do with celiac disease. And just starts typing. I was like,
crazy. Yeah.
I don't know why you would say that immediately. Like, maybe we should do some digging. But that was like one thing. Yeah. And I think that's what like kind of brought me back a little bit too, is because like that was like the first step of bringing me back into like the grief a little bit. Because I was like, oh, it's not taken as seriously as I think. Or like, am I crazy?
Yes. Even from doctors. Yes. Not really understanding or knowing like the full extent of it. And
exactly.
It's frustrating. So like, this is my body. This is my health.
And like, what else am I supposed to do? And so that was like a very interesting thing. But like, like, that's one thing. I always talk about the neurological side of it more so, like the mental health. And the more I talk about it, the more people are like, wait, I deal with that too.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's why I love your content so much. Like, you're so vulnerable. And even today, like, thank you so much for coming. This was such a fun conversation. I feel like we could talk for hours about this. Like, there's so much to unpack. But I want to end us off with a rapid fire.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What's one thing you wish people knew about living with celiac disease?
Pretty much what we talked about, but basically, I wish people would know that it's more than just a stomach issue, that there are neurological effects, that there are joint pain, there is long-term effects. And by not treating yourself or by being on the gluten-free diet, like the long-term effects are so detrimental to you. So I wish more people would understand that. Like when I get scared of getting gluten, it's not because I don't want to be sick that night. It's because I don't want to be sick for the next month and a half.
Totally. Or you don't want to develop
another autoimmune disease or cancer.
In your 60s.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. What's your favorite gluten-free product?
right now it's the Feel Good Foods. I mean, honestly, anything from Feel Good Foods, but they're pizza bagels and they're limited edition like pizza rolls right now, or like pizza sticks. They taste like pizza rolls and they're so good.
Yum, yum. One thing you wish was gluten-free.
I was about to say crab ragoons, but I just made that last week. I mastered the recipe.
Oh my gosh.
Currently, there's nothing I need to be gluten-free.
Is it on your TikTok?
It is on my TikTok.
Okay,
it's on my Instagram. Go check it out because I'm about to make more too because I need to figure out like what's the perfect recipe, but I did it with rice paper and I also did it with the Sweet Lorenz puff pastry.
Oh, okay.
Both turned out fantastic.
Wait, love. Okay, best gluten-free bread brand.
Canyon Bakehouse is just tried and true. Like I know I can always go to them.
It's rapid fire, so I'm going to keep
Oh yeah, you're right. Canyon Bakehouse.
I don't know if you want to share, but worst gluten-free bread?
Udi's.
Yeah.
I was like, I can say I'm never going to get a brand deal with them.
Valid. Best city you visited for gluten-free food?
Milan.
Ooh,
Italy.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Honestly, bakery-wise, restaurant-wise, like all around, there are so many great places in Italy, but Milan, Italy was the place to find everything you possibly could want gluten-free.
Okay, I haven't been there since I was 12. And I was diagnosed at the time, but I don't remember.
You got to go back.
The gluten-free options, but I need to go back. Yeah. Yes. Biggest celiac pet peeve?
When people who are eating gluten then just like want to take a bite of my food, not thinking like, oh, I have gluten on my hands and I'm about to just take a snack from your plate. I wish more people would understand. Raw chicken analogy of like, wash your hands. If you're touching something I'm allergic to, wash your hands before you can touch something that I'm putting in my mouth.
Yeah, that's the best analogy, by the way. I've seen that on your TikTok, and I've started telling people that. It's helpful.
It's the easiest way. I'm like, everyone understands bacteria, so let's keep it at that.
Exactly. Okay, last question. Most unexpected blessing that came from celiac disease?
The community, like starting this platform and meeting all the people. Like this whole trip, like I'm generally coming out here because I wanted to go on this podcast and I'm seeing all of my gluten-free friends. I'm like, I would have never met any of these people if I just didn't start posting. So I'm just so grateful to finally meet people like me, but just in all different areas. Like it's just so fun to experience other people's lives in their own cities and in their own towns and things with celiac disease. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. And I especially love the gluten-free content creator space because you automatically have two things in common, celiac disease or being gluten-free and content creation. Exactly. So there's like so much to talk about. It's crazy. All right. This was such a fun episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Plug all of your handles. Where can everyone follow you?
Yes. TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, No Gluten Gabby. And that's pretty much it. I took down my website, but I'm going to be bringing it back up. So stay tuned for that one.
Amazing. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to follow the show and leave a 5-star review and send this to one of your celiac or gluten-free friends so we can grow the community. And I will see you guys back here next week on Wednesday for another episode. Bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Celiac Diaries podcast. I hope you're leaving with a tip, a story, or just a little inspiration to live your best life with celiac. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review. I'll see you back here next Wednesday. And until then, stay well.